Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Karamawiin. This week was very good, especially for my personal project. I got a lot of the features that I wanted to add. Yesterday I was testing some of them and it was very cool to see things working. Now I need to add like two minor things in the back end so I can finally start working on the front end. And yeah, it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be fun going back to my roots. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. However, I'm talking about React, but as you can see on the screen, you see in Java. So a friend of mine, his name is Dennis, he hit me up, send in this small challenge to new Java developers because I'm still quite new to Java. And I just wanted to see if you are able to make a simple banking app that has two account types, a savings, a checkings, and that the checkings account has a withdrawal limit and the savings account also has a different withdrawal limit. So I had to work with some of the information that he gave me, like the account number, the owner name, and the balance. And the thing about it is he gave me a bunch of terms like polymorphism, abstraction, and a bunch of other stuff that I just didn't remember, because once I was done with the tutorial in some small projects with Java, I actually moved on and went straight to Spring Boot, the framework. So when I was given the challenge, I was like lost at the beginning. So what I did was I went back, saw a couple of examples on what these terms were, and it was like, oh, okay, now I know what I'm looking at. So it's essentially, this is what I did. I created an account types with account numbers, with owner, with balance, and then I prepared the getters and the setters. I made a method that was available for everybody, which was deposit. I made the withdrawal abstract. So the different types of bank accounts can have different versions of the same method. Of course, I made the class type abstract, and then I made the savings account, passing the account types that we have here. And as you can see, we overriding the withdrawal method, which is what we pass as abstract, so everybody else can have it. So savings has it, and when you go to the check-ins, also have their own versions. I was a bit lost here with the super method, but eventually I was able to catch on to it. But then I got here into the main app. I need to make sure that I set a check-ins account and a savings account. That itself was easy. Where I started struggling here was using the while loop, because I don't use the while loop as much. So I was very confused, and it took me a little bit to really understand what was going on. And then I had to understand that the balance that you see here and the amount are two different things. Balance is what you have in your bank account. The amount is what you're trying to withdraw or deposit. So that in itself took me a little bit to really grasp for whatever reason. And then once I was doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. And then I had to make sure that I had a while loop that was running that essentially holds everything within it. And then within the while loop, I had an if statement choosing whether if I want a savings account or a checking account, where I can exit through the use of integers. Once I have that, I have two different ones, one that is for option 1 and one that is for option 2. That was the challenge. It took me a couple hours. It took me like 3 or 4 hours. I'm very embarrassed to say that, but it really gave me an understanding of working with pure Java, because I want to start doing like LeetCode stuff. So this was a good starting point for me to really get going. Now let's talk about my last meetup of the year. This one was a fun one. I went to my last meetup of 2025 by an invitation of my friend Hermes. He works for Agora, and a very cool event, as you can see. Nice space. And this one was a bit different. This was not like a presentation. By the way, this is my friend Hermes. So he did a presentation, but most of the event was actually a panel with investors and startup founders. So this room had a lot of startup founders and a lot of investors. So there's a lot of business people. So props to the Agora team, props to my brother Hermes, and this is members of the team of Agora that I got to meet. And yeah, working on a personal project. My internship features already shipped, so we are already talking about payment methods and how we're going to do it, what type of bank accounts we're going to use. But essentially, we should be good to go for a V1 of the MVP. Nevertheless, that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.